Ron Harris here from Muscular Development, along with Giles Tiger Thomas, all the way from Norway? No, all the way from the UK. That was a good one, right? This is our preview of the Olympia, brought to you by High Tech Pharmaceuticals. We just had the athlete meeting, which apparently we weren't even supposed to be in, but we snuck in somehow. We were not allowed to take any pictures or video, but we did make some observations. It was just for the Open Mr. Olympia competitors, this particular meeting. We got a good look at some of these guys. Even though they were mostly covered up, you could see who was looking large, who was looking lean, who made the strongest impressions on you, Giles.
Brandon Curry looked like a cartoon character. Michael Lockett just looks like something of... I can't even begin to describe that one. Hadi Chupin was looking very, very full and he looked very solid. And he was sat right next to William Bonac, if you noticed.
Yeah.
And I was kind of looking back and forth, and they were looking very kind of similar size. I mean, for me, that's the one I'm looking forward to seeing, the Hadi versus William. But overall, we didn't really get to see much because they were all covered up. I mean, you could see a bit of arm, and Luke was there. Luke Sandoe was there. He was looking absolutely enormous. The calves, everything was looking. Mostly, I think you can tell by the faces.
Yeah.
And it was good to get even just a little sneak peek tonight.
But it's funny. We try to look at the faces to see what kind of condition these guys are in. And some people's faces never get sunken in. Like Cedric, somebody we noticed. I've never seen Cedric's face really sunken in ever.
Funny you should say Cedric, because when I saw him walk up to get his music in tonight, that's because he wears the same, was it yellow and green like tracksuit. Yeah. That's the biggest I've seen him. Yeah. He looked absolutely colossal. Yeah. I mean, that's so. Is that an indication that he's out of shape, or is it an indication that he's bigger and better than he's ever been?
Yeah. He's the wild card. I think the two wild cards in this show are Cedric and Hadi. Hadi we've never seen on the Olympia stage. I'm just curious to see how Hadi stacks up against these guys, because he's massive. He's not the tallest guy, but Bonac has been as high as third
in 2017.
I mean, it's not.
Should have been second.
It's not impossible that Hadi could jump up there. It depends on how everyone. We don't know. So let's talk about the Open Mr. Olympia first. It's still a great show, guys. A couple of the big names aren't in it, but we got some great competitors. Brandon Curry and Rolly Winkler, two front runners, two guys most people are talking about. Brandon, obviously, the Arnold Classic champ. Rolly was third last year to Sean Roden and Phil, who are not in the show. Brandon was only fifth last year. So Rolly was higher up. Now, you can make the argument that Brandon's improved since then, which I believe he has. And Rolly, with Rolly, you never know until you see him which Rolly you're going to get. Are we going to get the Rolly we got last year, who was full and tight, or are we going to get a blurry Rolly? I mean, what's your gut tell you about Rolly?
Rolly for me, like you said, the biggest wild card is Cedric and Hadi. For me, it's Cedric and Rolly, because with Rolly, last year's Olympia on the Saturday, he was absolutely tremendous. I think there's an argument that he could even be as high as second. I thought he was absolutely fantastic, but the thing is, we're basing the current rankings upon Rolly's conditioning and placing, how he looked at the Arnold and the Arnold Australia earlier this year. That was not an indication of how good Rolly is, because that was Rolly that was very off. We heard various excuses. We heard that he had a knee injury, he prepped too late, his team didn't want him to do it. And it was just but that you can't. But I'm more thinking about the Rolly that I've seen, who took third at the Olympia last year, who won the Prague the year before, who won the Arnold Australia. That's the kind of Rolly that I'm basing this upon. And I think if Rolly is one of the top champion bodybuilders in the world, and I put in my Global Muscle Buzz column, in my MD column, I said I've got a feeling this is going to be the revenge of Rolly at this Olympia, because he's going to be, his pride and his ego, whatever, is going to be so hurt by what happened at the Arnold. He's going to want revenge on himself. He's going to really try and claw back up. So I think he's going to have gone all out for this Olympia. And I do see him as probably the biggest wild card, but it's just with Rolly, I think I'll be able to tell within 5 seconds of him walking out whether he's blowing it or not, because when Rolly's on, his waist is smaller. I think it's when he gets above 260. That, for me, is when his waist goes blocky, and you can tell because he has a very square look to his physique. But like he did at the Arnold Australia when he won that, the Prague when he won that, the end of 2018, wasn't it? That for me is the road, because it's when he drops down to about 260, his waist goes smaller and he gets that better condition and he just transforms. That's his best way. Any heavier, then for me, he ruins the aesthetics. So he's got to bring condition, or as far as I'm concerned, he's really going to have blown it this year. So
let me put it this way. The Rolly that took third last year at the Olympia versus the Brandon that won the Arnold back in March, who wins? Tough, huh? Got to see them next to each other.
Yeah, that's a real.
See, that's why these predictions are crazy until we see these guys. Yeah. But we got to do the predictions. Yeah. So another guy, obviously William Bonac has been as high as third. Mm-hmm. He's beaten a lot of these guys many times in the past at other shows.
He's beaten all of them.
He's coaching himself now, apparently, right? Mm-hmm. He was with Neil Hill for many years. So when somebody's working with the coach for years and then all of a sudden they're on their own, a lot of people are suddenly thinking he's screwed now. He's not going to be in shape. He's not going to be that. But, I was kind of trying to. You couldn't really tell. He was pretty covered up at this meeting, but he looks like he's right there where he should be.
I've seen all I've seen is one picture of William on a plane, which one of his friends took, and he was in a t-shirt, and his arms looked as hard and as shredded. I mean, like I said, we were only going upon the little glimpses of what we get. Yeah. He was on Global Muscle a few weeks ago, and he seemed very, very happy, relaxed, confident. He has people in Holland that look at him. I've heard nothing. I think if he'd have been bad and he wasn't coming in, I think we would have heard. Yeah. I do think we would have heard. So I think I just want to. I really want to see. I think it'll send a message out about coaches and whether they are as needed as maybe. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a victory for him if he turns up looking as good as he ever has. But the thing is with William, you'll know straight away with William if he's in condition with his quads. With the things with his quads, that's where, like, he always looks good at the main show and then he seems to fade as the shows go on. But with William, it's when he hits that frontal bicep. If the waist comes in and the legs are shredded, he's going to look good from every angle, because from the front, from the back and the side, he's absolutely flawless. And he's very detailed, which I don't think any of the other guys, apart from Hadi, have got. So you've got the kind of mass monsters in Brandon and Rolly, who really have never really brought that real crisp detail that they need to bring to really outright win an Olympia. Yeah. And then you've got the more detailed, shorter guys, more compact guys like Hadi and William, who do bring condition and do bring separation, do bring that crispy 3D pop. So for me, William's got the goods to take this. Yeah. Absolutely take this, just like Rolly has. But I think in terms of consistency, William is more consistent.
Okay. Now, we seem to be forgetting Dexter Jackson, who is the only former Mr. Olympia competing in this. I saw him in Tampa a few weeks ago. I'd say that was about 90% Dexter, 90% of his best, because I think he was holding back just a little bit for this show, and I think he can bring close to his best ever to this. And his legs are back. There's a lot of people speculating maybe Dexter could win this again a few weeks before he turns 50. That would be the most insane story in bodybuilding in many years if he could pull that off. Do you think he has a chance?
I don't think he's got a chance of winning it. Okay. No, I don't. I think he's going to be. He could be as high as fourth. He could be as low as sixth. But I think with Dexter, the thing that impresses me is that they always say once you get past 40, the legs are usually the first body part to go. Yeah. But on Dexter, in 2012, his legs were starting to go. Sorry, 2011, and then he came back in 2012, and his legs were back. Last couple of years, we've not seen a decline in any size, but there was definitely a lesser
sweep.
No, it was more detail and like the clean separations, and it was like, okay, they're starting to shrink a little bit. They're not quite as same sort of pop from the side, the way they flicker. Yeah. And then he turned up to the Tampa this year, and it's like he regained that size and then some. Yeah. So I was so impressed. But the thing with Dexter is he's got to watch that midsection. So it all comes to him with his carb up and the way he preps. So if he keeps the midsection nice and flat, because he's got that long torso, so he needs to sort of be filled by the way before he gets on stage. Because if he carbs up too late, he's going to get the distension and it's going to ruin the whole physique. Because he's not the biggest, so he needs to have every single one of these areas intact. The midsection needs to be flat and everything needs to be full and popping. So Dexter, I mean, could I see him as high as third? Possibly. Third to fifth, I would think is realistic. But I think I think some of the guys we've mentioned before, I think they're going to be the ones to occupy the top 4. So I think maybe Dexter in 4th, 5th.
Okay, fair enough. So right behind Dexter in Tampa was Luke Sandoe. I was more impressed with Luke at the Arnold. He said that he was in better condition in Tampa, but he was very flat because he didn't carb up enough or something.
Yeah.
So it looked like he wasn't in the same condition as Arnold. But, for me, the Arnold look earlier this year was the best I've ever seen him. I think if he brings that look again, or even a little better than that, top 5. I don't think it's out of the question for Luke.
I could see Luke in 5th. I was a bit shocked when he said that on my on the Global Muscle show, MD Global Muscle Radio. He said, I was actually in better condition in Tampa.
Yeah.
But and I noticed there's a bit more development going on in his legs, but his upper body, his chest and his arms, like in his frontal bicep, which is one of his probably his best shots. Yeah. It wasn't as impressive for me. It wasn't popping. So. I mean, the thing is, the Arnold Classic, that wasn't a fluke. That was real. That was such a. If you can peak even close to that, I don't think he can get much better than that in terms of peaking, unless he really makes some serious improvements to his physique. But I think, honestly, if he can bring 95% of what he's brought to the Arnold, I think he's going to have had a really good year, and I could absolutely see him. I could see him 5th to 6th, 100%. Yeah.
And you could probably say the same thing for Cedric, but Cedric's another wild card because, like I said, we've never seen 100% Cedric. I don't think ever. What would you say the best you've ever seen him was when he won San Marino that time that you were there?
No, I think it's the Arnold Australia this year.
Arnold Australia this
and when
year?
he won the Arnold in 2017.
Okay.
That was some of his best looks. At San Marino, he was good, but he needs to be better than that to even make a dent in this Olympia lineup. But things with Cedric, it's funny because 4 or 5 years ago, I've said many times on things like this, I've said that Cedric and Sean Roden had the potential to be the next Mr. Olympia and have the knockout punch to take out Phil Heath. I've said that many years ago. And obviously Sean Roden won the Olympia last year. Yeah. So that was, but can Cedric actually, the whole reason I'm very doubtful whether Cedric can really pull ahead, because Cedric's top 3 Olympia material at his best is this special invite thing. I'm not sure whether he's been prepping hard enough, whether he would have had his foot right on the gas. Because what did he get? The special invite, was it 4 or 5 weeks out? It wasn't even that. 3, 4.
It was no more than 5 or 6.
I just don't. I mean, we had Jay Cutler on Global Muscle Radio, and he says, you need to know you're doing a show like the Olympia and train for like 6 months to a year, not get the green light 5 weeks out and then go for it.
Well, the thing that he got the exception because of his military duties, which were preventing him from contest prep. So that makes me doubt that he's been able to eat and train the way he should be.
That's my point.
You're going to win the Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
You can't just kick it into gear 6 weeks out and now I'm going to get all my meals on time and my workouts when they're supposed to be. I mean, this is the toughest show in the world. These guys we've been talking about, they're not going to lie down and get beat.
But saying that, I mean, I saw him tonight, and in his clothes, he looked absolutely colossal. He looked the biggest I have ever seen him. Yeah. As I was walking into the arena, I could see him in the distance, and I
was in the elevator with him, and he took up the whole damn elevator.
He's huge. So maybe he has secretly been really training like a devil and really going for it, because the look he brought to the Arnold Australia, absolutely. I mean, I think I had him winning that over Bonac. 100%. I was very disappointed when he lost that. And I think he lost it by 1 point, was it, the Arnold Australia? Yeah. So if he could bring something like that with even a little bit more hardness, I think, I mean, that could, see, for me, he is the one that I don't know how to place. I don't know whether I've got him in top 3 or even top 6. I'm like maybe even 7th, 8th. I just don't know. I mean, I would love to see it as a big Cedric fan. I would love to see if he could really pull it out the bag and get in that first call out and be in that top 3. That for me would be like as a long-time Cedric fan, that would be huge. But it's whether this whole special invite thing and everything that's gone along with that, it's whether that can really, I don't know. It's
Let's put it this way. Ronnie Coleman, when he won 98, had been 9th place the year before. Cedric was 9th place last year. So it wouldn't be impossible to see him move up. It would take a much better Cedric than we've ever seen. We'll see. Steve Kukla, who I had the pleasure of interviewing a couple hours ago in his room. Steve's never really gotten a great look. He's been in the top 10 a couple times here. I think this is a year where the people that sometimes weren't getting the good looks and the call-outs, this is a time when they're going to get noticed. This is their time to shine, and this is a golden opportunity for someone like Steve to really, especially if he's looking better than we've ever seen him. This could be his time to really bust into that top 5, top 6. It wouldn't be out of the question.
When you interviewed Steve, did he give you any indication of his body weight?
I think he said he was 285.
So this guy is tall, he's wide, he's not lacking any body parts. He's been bringing condition, I would say, from the Arnold last year when he took 5th. That was the first time when he turned to the back and we'd seen real detail in his back, his hamstrings, his glutes, his calves, because that's where he's always lacked it. He was always like Cutler was the first few years until he really started getting that detail. So, and he seems to be cracking consistent conditioning since last year's Arnold. He did it at the Arnold Classic this year. He did it when he won the Indy Pro this year. And I think he's the one that's probably going to get his best ever Olympia placing, 100% guaranteed this year. Yeah. This year, not just because there's a few names out of it, but because I think he's actually finally coming into his own now.
Yeah, we talked about that because he's 34 now.
Yeah,
he's been a pro for 8 years now. I think he's finally getting to where he needed to be. It's taken him. He's done it the right way. He's been gradually improving, getting muscle maturity.
Maturity at 34 is
bringing up body parts. Like his chest wasn't that great in the early years. This could be a really good year for him.
Yep.
Let's move on to Jonathan De La Rosa, he's never gotten a great look at the Olympia, but he's never looked the way he looked earlier this season. He's teamed up with Neil Hill. He trains with Flex Lewis. He's got a great thing going down there in was it Boca Raton?
Yeah.
So I saw him win in Toronto. Very impressive condition. If he brings that with a little more, I don't think he needs more size. I think with him it always comes down to detail and condition. And I never thought he was going to get it. I'd basically given up on him because every time I went to a show and it's Jonathan and he'd come out and like, damn it. I want those deep, clear lines. I want detail, and I just wasn't seeing it. Toronto, I was finally seeing it. I want to see more. I want to see more. And I think it's going to take a little more of that for him to beat some of these people we've been talking about. But, another great opportunity for someone.
Do you know how many bodybuilders would love to be in John De La Rosa's position where they've got every single body part, they've got perfect structure, they've got perfect proportions, and all they need is to get is bloody condition and separation. That's all he's needed to get for the last, 5-6 years? Yeah. He won the pro show in 2014, and he consistently failed in those 3-4 years, and then this year finally started getting it right at Toronto and the Puerto Rico show. And I was like, yes, this is a 90% version of Jonathan De La Rosa. This is what we've been wanting to see for years, and finally started getting it right. I said to him when he came on Globe Muscle, I said, if you can get to 93 or 95%, I think you could squeeze into the top 6 at the Olympia. His goal is he wants, I think he said 5th. I think he wants to make 5th place. Yeah. He wants to make top 5. That's achievable. Yeah. But all he has to do, he's got to be in condition. And I think Neil and Flex would have not let him get away with anything. And even when he was just sat there tonight, I could see, because he's kind of got that freaky thickness and fullness, but I could see real condition going on in his calves and his arms. You could see his face was drawn, even though he had the beard. I could see his cheeks.
He hasn't shaved his body yet. His arms are hairy as hell.
His cheeks were drawn in. No, I think he's one of the ones that could really, really move up. And I think you're going to see the best ever John De La Rosa at this Olympia.
Juan Morel, who won the Arnold South America this year. Juan's never gotten a great look at the Olympia either. Condition is something he always brings. I've been looking at his Instagram. Of course, I knew he was going to be in shape anyway, but upper body's ridiculous. Legs from the side, ridiculous. Crazy hamstring drop. His quads, they're starting to come up. I don't know if they've come up enough for him to get a really good look, a good call out at this, the Mr. Olympia, the show of shows. What's your gut tell you on how Juan might do?
I've got a feeling he's probably going to be one of the most best conditioned in the whole show. And that will always, if there's some really, really big names, bigger names than Juan Morel that really have messed up, then absolutely he can step over them, because he does look good in side poses. He's got a great most muscular. For me, he doesn't flow that amazingly from the back, from the top to toe. I don't really like... There's a few, it's not pleasing to the eye, but he does bring condition in like his chest, his shoulders, his back. He's got real thickness, roundness. He's very popular, and I think he does take a lot of poses, like his side tricep, side chest. I think he's gonna get his best ever Olympia placing. I really think he's gonna do well. I think you see the picture he put over all the vascularity. I don't know why people are getting so excited about that, because vascularity you can get.
It doesn't mean a damn thing, but it looks really cool.
You can jump in the sauna or take some sugars or just have some coffee, and then bam, the veins are out. But I think he's going to bring really, really good conditioning. We saw him tonight outside the thing, and you could see his face. That guy's been suffering to get in condition for this. So I think he's gonna be very happy at this Olympia. I think he's definitely going to make top 10, and I think he's going to go home happy, because I think he's going to know he's moved forward.
Okay. There are a couple other guys, but we're going to move on because we want to mention some other divisions, of course. 212 Olympia. So obviously the front runner would be last year's runner-up, Derek Lunsford, who was second to Flex. Everyone's been following his pictures, his videos. He's looking very much like a champion. I don't know who's beating him, because the only one I thought was going to give him real trouble, and this is no disrespect to any of the other guys, but the only person I thought was going to give him a real run for the money was Hadi, and Hadi decided to go open.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disrespect anybody by saying this is going to be an easy win for Derek. It's not going to be, even if he does win, it's not going to be easy. There's some people here who are going to push him very hard, but I see Derek as by far the front runner in this.
100%. He kind of messed his prep up a little bit last year, because we spoke to him when he came on the show, and he said about, sorry, I said about he said his weight was dropping, and he kind of mistimed it, and he dropped down to about 207. And really, he should have been coming in absolute limits. So he was basically 5 pounds under what he should have been, because he really, in condition, he could come in on stage at 220, shredded. 218 to 220, I think, is realistic last year, and we know how much gains he's made in this last year. I think absolutely he's the front runner. Do you want me to know my top three, or do you want to just go through names?
No, let's say your top three.
I think first call out is going to be Derek Lunsford. Yeah. I think Sean Clara is going to be in the fight. Yeah. I think Kamal's going to be up there. I tell you who's really... Dave Henry is always going to be a front runner. He always seems to get screwed at the Olympia. 2016, he took 5th place, and for me, he was a clear second. In fact, I thought he was pushing Flex Lewis that year. Yeah. So he never seems to get... He seems to always get at 4th or 5th, and he always deserves, I think, at least 1 or 2 spots higher. I think...
You know Ashkenani's going to be in that first call-up.
Yeah, I don't see him being top 3. I just don't. I don't like what I saw at the New York Pro. Just the condition, the separation.
Yeah, I was there, and the legs. I did not see very much separation at all in his quads. Another one from the side, his legs look really good because he's got really good hamstrings. But his quads, they're just he needs a much fuller quads with better sweep, better detail. And it's too bad because his upper body is insane.
Yeah,
he's got one of the best backs in the sport, bar none. Him and Derek both do.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I think I'd love to see him just go to a completely different way of prepping and just drop 10 pound. Just try it. See what it does to his physique. It might completely transform him, and he might look 10 pounds bigger because of it. Because he's a very, very thick muscle, but for me, he's got to be in condition. Otherwise, he just kind of looks a bit blocky. But I tell you what, who's been really impressing me, and I think could be a real potential dark horse, is John Jewett.
Yeah.
Have you seen if what I've seen in pictures even translates 80% to what I've seen in those pictures translates on stage, I think he's going to be someone that could really be a top 5, even top 3 guy. Because
I have to apologize because I underrated the guy.
Yeah, well,
he wasn't on my radar, but I was in. What he went to Tampa? Yeah, we were just there in Tampa, and he won that, and I was like, wow, how did I not notice how good this guy was? Because I'm sitting there looking at him like I'm an idiot. How did I not recognize how good this guy is? He's very good. He's lacking nothing. Thick, great shape, great structure, and he brought the condition.
Have you seen the new pictures though?
No, but if he's better than Tampa, he's gonna be tough.
From what I can see, like I said, it's hard to judge by stage pictures and then gym pictures, well lit photographs. But he looks razor sharp, so I'm really excited about him. I think Sean Clara, he's going to be. He was 7th place last year. I think 100% he's going to be top 5. I think he's got the potential to be top 3. Eduardo Correa, what do you think?
I had Eduardo, as most people had Eduardo winning in New York. Clear winner, I thought. But I was very impressed with Eduardo. To me, he looks, I'd say about 90% of what he was a few years ago at his best. And maybe he just needed a little time. That was back in May. He hadn't competed in a long time. So he might need a couple shows to really get his groove back. And this might be it. Maybe by now he's caught back up to where he was, because he was second at the 212 Olympia one year. He's been a deadly 212 guy. He was a deadly 202 when the class was still 202.
He was second in the Olympia, wasn't he? Second in the Olympia.
He was second. He's a great bodybuilder.
So do you think, what about Kamal? Because Kamal, arguably, I think Kamal should have been second last year. Many of us did. Kamal, I think he's going to be about 3 pounds heavier because he was 205 last year. He's going to be maybe around 208 this year. You know he's going to bring the condition.
Yeah.
Do you think it could be the last two could be him and Derek?
Yeah, I mean,
I could see that.
I don't know. I mean, there's after Derek, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a battle for second, third, fourth, fifth.
I think Derek first.
Yeah.
I think we'll see. Who just said his name?
Kamal.
Sorry, one of my friends.
That's your guy, and you can't think of his name.
Sorry, Kamal second. I think Sean Claret a third. I would see Dave Henry or John Jewett in fourth, and I think Eduardo in fifth. I think that'll be the top five. I don't see anybody else that could really. Hidetada could maybe sneak in the top five. What about Dane Watson, guys like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few guys like Zane, Hide, even Lloyd Dollar, who won in Chicago, looked very, very good. I mean, another guy he's getting better and better, because he's someone a couple of years ago I thought was going to be mired in the B list forever, because I just didn't see him doing that well. And now he's moving up. Mm-hmm. It's going to be, I believe, we're going to see a lot of surprises in multiple divisions. It's not just the Open Olympia. I think we're going to see surprises, guys who never got a really good look, and they're going to step up and do better than we ever thought. Mm-hmm. Samuel Haddad's very good. He should, when he's in condition, he's very, very tough. Yeah, I mean, it's a great show. It's Mr. Olympia, everybody. Come on. Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's move on. Classic Physique. This is stacked. Look at how many. Look at that. There's 35 guys in the Classic.
Shit.
35 guys, and of course we have the top three from 2017 and 2018 are back. Breon looking crazy. Everyone's been seeing his pictures. Breon Ansley. Yeah. He's going to be very, very tough to beat. Bumstead looks great. He doesn't have his kidney issues. He had a hernia surgery early in the year, but seems to have bounced right back from that. What did he tore his hamstring to? Yeah, this kid. He must have broken a mirror, or some voodoo priestess put a curse on him. I don't know what happened to Chris, but he's looking really good. But Breon's just tough. He's just tough to beat. He's so complete. A lot of people, they rag on him because he's not very tall. He's not this. He's not that. But you know what? He's lacking nothing. He's got that overall package that's just tough to beat. Nothing really stands out. Nothing's really weak. Where you can pick apart Chris, he still needs a thicker back. Still needs more arms. George Peterson, he's going to be shredded. Doesn't have the prettiest shape, and that's where someone like Breon, even Bumstead, gets him on. Gets George on is the shape and the structure. But George is a wild card too, because he keeps. As much as people say he's not really a good Classic Physique competitor, he's the only two people that have been beating him have been Breon and Bumstead for years now.
He's won the Arnold. He's had 2 third places at the Olympia. Yeah. And you know what? I saw some pictures recently, and I actually asked him if he'd photoshopped his waist, because it looks like he's took about 2 or 3 inches off his waist, which I guess does make him more classic. Yeah. Dennis James was on Global Muscle the other week, and he says, and I disagreed with him, but he said, no, classic is basically if you make the height and weight, you're classic. I completely disagree. Right. Having been said, I think Breon's going to win this. I think George Peterson, I think he'll be second. You see, one we always forget about is Arash Rabar. He's one I never count this guy in any.
Second place in the first Classic Physique Olympia to Danny Hester.
Always up there. And obviously Henri Pierre Arnaud, 4th place. Last year in the judging, I had him second. I had him second place, and he did an open show. He's been switching back and forth. Yeah. He's got a fantastic physique. And another guy, I tell you 2 other guys I'm really impressed with. Courage Apara and Keown Pearson. Yeah, Keown, man. Did you see what he did from the Arnold Classic to the New York Pro? It looked like 2 years difference, and he did it in 2 months. Yeah. Keown, whatever you've done, I need you to tell me on DMs, because that was so impressive. Because go. People watching, have a look at the Arnold Classic pictures of Keown, and then go have a look at the New York Pro pictures 2 to 3 months later. Go and have a look and see the difference, and tell me you will be shocked. Trust me on this. Yeah. So who else you got?
Oh, geez. Look, 35 guys. This is crazy.
Khalid's very good.
Khalid Chikawi from Canada. Great, beautiful shape on that guy. Danny Hester. Yeah, Danny Hester. He was the champ. I mean, he won this thing. He could come back and top 5 is certainly not out of the question for that guy.
Always conditioned.
Always conditioned. He's old too. He's already 50, Danny.
Wow.
He turned 50 a few months ago. Happy birthday, Danny. Courage, Penix Pierre, Jordan Planet Roche. Danny Unin was 6th place last year.
Yes, very good.
And he's improved. I know he's improved because I follow him on Instagram. And then the last guy there, yeah, it's going to be tough, but I still see Brian, guys.
Brian brings the condition. Brian brings the separation. He brings the classic posing. He's a very well polished.
Yeah.
He's a very well polished, put together physique, and I think he's got this on lock. But I think it's going to be a battle for second. But I think second, George Peterson and Henry Pierre, I know, battling for third. Bumstead, I think he'll slip. I think he'll slip down to third to fourth. I'm not seeing any remarkable improvements in terms of his physique this year. Like I said, last year he was at the prejudge, and I think I had him top 3, and then he managed to, he just filled out, he sorted his tan out, and he looked great at the night show, and I think his second place was well deserved. But I would like to see something a little bit more. I'd like to see some improvements from Chris this year.
I expect, I love his physique. He's a great young guy.
Oh, he's fantastic.
He's one of my favorite people to interview and everything. But yeah, I want to see at his age. He's only 24. He should be improving. I mean, this is the time to do it. So he's had health. He had the kidney had nothing to do with bodybuilding. He had the kidney issue, the Berger's disease last year. He had a hernia that he had to take care of. So I don't know if he just hasn't had enough proper, solid off-season time without any issues going on to make the improvements, and hopefully he's going to get that opportunity. Men's physique, we got the returning champion, Brandon Hendrickson. I'm guessing Brandon's probably going to be the man to beat again. Ryan Terry from the UK. Tough competition.
He was second to Buendia. He's won the Arnold Classic. He's coming back after he had an injury as well, a hip injury, which he's come back for. I saw some pictures. Spoke to him recently. He's looking absolutely fantastic. I like his midsection. He's got that really good midsection, and which obviously you need in the men's physique.
Raymond Edmonds is great. Andre Ferguson,
another one. Yeah, fantastic.
Kyron Holden's very good. It's a good lineup. Akeem Scott, Ryan Terry, yeah. Another big class, but it's probably going to be Brandon, the man to beat. He's got a very complete package. He's like the poster boy for men's physique. Fitness Olympia. So Whitney Jones is the defending champion.
Yep.
Jenny Worth, we saw win in Tampa. She's on the comeback trail. She just came back last year, I think, after several years away from the sport. Rael Graber from Canada, also very good. Missy Truscott, yeah.
Previously, Missy Farrell. She competes in figure and fitness. She was 4th at the Olympia last year, and she's been on Global Muscle twice, so I'm rooting for her.
You always call her Missy Farrell on Global Muscle, right?
Yeah, but it's now, obviously her married name is now Missy Truscott.
It's tough for these women. They got to change their names.
I think she's going shark fishing after this. So.
Shark fishing?
No, it's not shark diving with her husband.
Okay.
Her and her husband like to go shark diving.
Okay, as long as they don't hurt the sharks. Yeah. Figure Olympia. I don't want them to hurt the sharks.
No.
So Figure Olympia, Sydney Gillen, Latoya Watts, they're both just incredible physiques. They look like the trophies they give out when you win the figure shows. So
they're like the criteria.
But it's tough when they're like next to each other. I have a hard time trying to decide who should win.
Yeah, I think Sydney's probably going to take this again. This will be a 3rd Olympia win. She won the Arnold Classic early in the year. Because last week she won the Rising Phoenix last week, don't forget.
That's right, yeah.
And I forget the girl who came second to her, but she beat the girl who I thought was going to potentially beat Sydney, and that was Jessica Reyes-Padilla.
Who
was 3rd at the Arnold, or was she 4th at the Arnold? She was third at the Arnold this year, and then she won the Arnold Australia.
We were in New York Pro. She won that.
She won the New York Pro, and she took 3rd place last week. She said she wants to peak for the Olympia, so maybe I would like to see a battle between Sydney and Jessica. But the thing is, you've got the return of Latoya Watts. I mean, I saw some video of Latoya just training, and somebody said, "Oh, she's been out for 2 years, and her age is like her age to do 2 years. She looks fantastic."
Is she 32?
Oh, come on. Yeah,
What's Sydney? I don't know how old some of these people are, but yeah, I mean,
Ivana Vucic.
Ivana Vucic, yeah, another tough one.
She could win it.
That's
she
right.
could win it all.
That's what I'm saying. This is the Olympia, guys. I mean, when you get to the top 5, any one of them are good enough to win, or they wouldn't have got this far.
Cedric Giles as well. She's very good.
Yep. Moving on to bikini. So we have returning champ, 3-time champ, Angelica Teixeira. I'm saying it right. She's going to be very, very tough to beat. You also have Ashley Keltwasser. There's a couple other people. Lauralee Chapados.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's Janet Leog. Jeez.
Maureen Blankisco from Norway is very good as well. She's won, I think she won, is it 3 or 4 pro shows now in the last year?
Yeah, I mean, we were in Tampa and she won that.
Yeah.
I've never seen her before. I was like, okay, now I get
She's
it.
amazing. I'm really rooting for Lauralee Chapados.
Yeah.
I think she was second place last year, and I think she's really, really hungry to win this one. And I know they like to rotate the champions because you never see a champion too long. You know, Ashley Coltwalser, absolutely amazing. And then obviously Teixeira as well, Angelica Teixeira, who is obviously the multiple winner. Yep. So Jennifer Dory as well, rooting for her.
That's Breon's girl.
No, it's not.
It's not. Who's that?
That's Mark Anthony's girl.
Mark Anthony's girl. I'm sorry. Everyone's going to get mad at me now. Oh, well. Sorry, guys. I'll just keep my stupid...
Mariella Pellegrino as well. She won the New York Pro.
Yeah.
She's very good.
So let's wrap it up with Women's Physique Olympia. Geez, Shanique Grant, right? Is she competing this year? No.
She's there at the bottom.
Where? Oh, okay. Why do they do that? Why they go alphabetical and then they put the champ at the bottom? It's so confusing. Yeah, Shanique Grant is just very, very tough to beat. She's like another level. I don't know if anyone's beating that. She's just every time we post pictures of her on like muscular development forums, people just have like no words for it.
I know.
She's like perfection as far as if you were going to do a computer model of your ideal women's physique competitor.
And she looks more, from the photos I've seen, she looks more refined than she did last year. And she looks even more the criteria that is set. Yeah. It's like she's not lost size, but she's gained development and lines, and she's like Flex Wheeler in '93, so sleek and everything kind of fits, and the waist is tiny and the joints and everything's popping off the bone, and it still looks feminine, and it's like a piece of art.
She's only 24 years old, I believe.
Like 23, 24.
Okay, I got that one right. Good.
Yeah. All right, something like that.
Natalia Abraham Coelho. She was second place last year, so she'll be definitely fighting for this.
Yeah, she didn't win the Rising Phoenix last week.
She did not, and I don't see the girl that beat her on the list from Korea.
I don't know her name.
You're going to look at it? Our cameraman Hector is going to have a quick glance. I don't see it. I don't see
Maybe
her.
she's not doing it.
No, that's one
No,
page.
that's it.
So, I mean, she beat Natalia last weekend. I don't know why she's not in the Olympia.
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
You got Sheila Bleck, who just won Tampa. Looked really, really good.
Yeah, but I tell you who I'm really, really excited to see is Sheikha Nguyen. She won the Vancouver. She only started competing last November. Wow. She does 4-hour leg sessions twice a week. She's got 3 kids. She's absolutely... And when I saw AJ had some, my co-host, he had some footage. He was showing me in the house of when she won. But it was actually Hector's footage.
Oh, that's right.
And I actually saw it, and it was like wow factor, real wow factor. Beautiful look, beautiful presentation. I think I would be very surprised if she wasn't top 3, and I would be very happy if she's top 3, because she is something really special, and she's a really nice new addition to the pro ranks. Because the women's physique the last few years, it's been a lot of the same names, the same names, which is great. Also, Daniela Castillo's very, very impressive. She won the Arnold Classic, I believe, in 2016-17. I forget what year.
Okay. So Hector just
What's her name?
found her name. So the woman who won the Rising Phoenix last weekend is Pen Pragai
Oh, yeah, she got...
Tiangnok.
She took 3rd at the Olympia last year.
Okay.
She took 3rd, so she's very good.
Surprising she's not in this show.
Yeah, maybe I don't know, maybe she's a last-minute entry or...
Maybe. We'll see. But it's only Wednesday, guys. We're doing this very late on a Wednesday night. So it's not inconceivable that some people might drop out of the show. Somebody might be added to it. I don't know.
Also, another front runner is Jennifer Taylor, who was second. She was Rookie of the Year in 2017. She dropped to 4th place last year. She's very consistent, great conditioning. Yeah. Heather Grace is another one. She's been 3rd in the Olympia a couple of times.
I've seen pictures of Ivy Rain, who's I believe this is her first Olympia. She's looking really good. Margita Zamalova from Czech Republic.
Very good.
A few times. She's very consistent as well.
Her conditioning's very good. She took a step up this year. I forget what show it was she won. Was it the Arnold? Wasn't the Arnold Classic? No, it was. I think she took second or third at the Arnold Classic this year, and she's really, really stepped up. So I'd be very surprised. She got 10th at the Olympia last year, and I felt like she deserved to be top 6. So I really hope she gets a good look in this year because she's very impressive.
Yeah. So, wow, that's been a lot of competitors, hasn't it, guys?
Yeah.
So this is we're doing this on a Wednesday night. You're going to see this on Thursday morning, and just to let you know what the schedule is going to be like, we're going to be doing full coverage. We'll be doing play-by-play. We've already got video interviews up, but the play-by-play and the show is going to start judging Friday, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. That's Pacific time, and the finals for those classes are going to be held Friday night at 7. In addition to the judging for the Mr. Olympia is going to be done Friday night. Then Saturday, there's going to be more judging at 10 a.m. And finals again, 7 p.m. Saturday nights when, that's when we're going to find out who the new Mr. Olympia is. It's going to all happen Saturday night. So you can follow along all the action, musculardevelopment.com on the No Bull forum. We're doing play-by-play. We're going to be posting up all kinds of videos, getting tons of interviews up. Some of them are already posting as we speak. So please check out all the interviews, the photography. We've got great still photography happening, a lot of video stuff. This is where you need to be. We're going to have everything for you. And thank you to High Tech Pharmaceuticals for making it all possible for us. Thank you guys for watching, for following along. We're going to do a great job for you, and we want you to participate. So come on the forum. It's your chance to critique, give your little 2 cents on everything. Argue with people if you want. It's all good. We have a good time on these play-by-plays. It's a lot of fun. And this is the Olympia. This is our Super Bowl. This is what it all comes down to, the big show for us. So very excited to see how it's all going to go down. We're having new champions no matter what happens. We're going to have a new Mr. Olympia. We're going to have a new 212 Olympia champion. That in itself is pretty amazing because we've seen dynasties. We saw Phil Heath win 7 years in a row. We saw Flex Lewis win 7 years in a row. This is an Open Olympia. We're going to see a lot of people who never really had a chance because there was somebody sitting in that throne for years. Now we got some vacant thrones that need to be filled. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and I had a good chat with Dan Solomon, the new Olympia organizer, at the athlete meeting earlier on, and he said there's going to be some very, very good new changes. He says you'll see tomorrow the new stage. They've got new tweaks to the lighting and the overall production. He's been working on this all year with his team, and he says he seemed really excited. So I'm excited to see at the press conference tomorrow to see what they've done and to see how they've improved it because it's the Olympia, and it's funny. I think this Olympia is going. The people that didn't come to this Olympia are going to regret it because this Olympia. It's maybe some of their Rammies or the Phil Heath fans or whatever aren't going to be, but it gives an opportunity for the other guys to really step up and take a chance and really show what they've got. Because, like you said, we're going to have a new champion, and that's something in itself. The fact that we've got another new champion, a 15th Mr. Olympia will be crowned this weekend, and we will have a new 212 champion. That is so exciting as well. So, stay tuned.
All right. For muscledevelopment.com, this has been Ron Harris with Giles Tiger Thomas. Stay tuned.